Okay, so I have a question for you guys. Did you know that some anime actually have 2 English dubs? And no, I'm not talking about the fact that Dragon Ball Z has the American dub and the Canadian version. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm actually talking about Singapore dubs. Yeah, that's right. Over in Singapore, they actually make their own English dubs of some anime. And for the most part, they're kind of weird dubs, but in a sort of good, sort of not so good way. Anyways, the reason I bring this up is because, well, it was recently brought up that they're about the Yu-Gi-Oh dub that Singapore made, and I've seen it before, so I figured I might as well give you a review on this one to give you an idea of whether or not it's an improvement over what 4Kids did. Now before that, I guess I should tell you what other anime have been dubbed by Singapore, or over in Singapore, by I think Odex or whatever they're called. Prior to Funimation getting the rights to One Piece, Odex did a dub of that show, which was there right around the same time 4Kids was in control of it. It didn't last forever. I mean, like, it stopped around 200 episodes in, or something like that. It was discontinued. And I know that there's also a dub of Digimon, or at least the first 2 seasons. And, of course, that gets to the one that we'll be talking about today, which is Yu-Gi-Oh! So, the question you might have is this dub an improvement over the 4Kids version? Well, let's go take a look, shall we? Question 1. Is the opening left intact or dubbed in English? So here's the deal. When it shows on TV, or at least from the videos I've seen of it, what we see is that the opening is left so much intact that you even get to see the Japanese credits. Yeah, that's right. They don't even bother removing the credits or making their English credits for it. You see the same exact thing. They don't even bother just trying to plop the clean-cut version that I'm sure they were given over the version they get. So they literally leave that. And as for the ending, what they do for that is that some episodes you'll just see a 5-minute bit that contains like a segment from the ending. In other episodes you'll actually see the entire ending, which in every instance where it does, it is in fact the accurate ending. So I'm gonna give them credit for this one, even if they are a little bit too literal with the credits. Yes. 2. Is the background music left intact? Thing is, with Odex dubs like this, generally speaking, the background music is in fact kept. So, yes. Number 3. Free of sloppy or unnecessary edits based on network standards. Let's put it this way, this dub is so uncut that they don't edit anything. For example, as I mentioned above, the Japanese credits aren't even removed or cleaned up, so you even see those, and the title screen is even left in Japanese, though they still say the name of the episode in English. But it's kinda odd that they don't even edit the stuff that is okay to edit. So, by default, seeing as it's 100% uncensored and such, yes. 4. Free of heavy Americanization. Well, okay, let me modify that question for a moment, because seeing as this dub wasn't made over in America, it was made over in Singapore, I guess the term would be Singaporization, or better yet, I'll just say localization. So, is it free of heavy localization? Well, let's put it this way, seeing as it's uncensored, that means the problem that 4Kids had of editing the cards in a weird way is not present in this version. You see the cards in Japanese, no questions asked, and all the Japanese text on the screen is allowed, because, you know, uncensored, and they really don't deny where it's from. So, of course, I have to say, yes. 5. Uncut version available to the public in some way. Well, let's put it this way. The version that you see on TV is uncut, literally. So, in a way, that is already an uncut version. Now, I don't know anything about the DVD releases. In fact, I don't think they even have an official DVD for those over there. Maybe some bootlegs, though. I have been told that those really bad bootleg fan subs that are out there, you know, the ones that call Blue Eyes Green Eyes for whatever reason, Those ones that they sometimes will include English audio, and the English audio used is in fact the Odex dub. So either way, I'm gonna give them this one on the grounds of the dub being uncut as is. Yes. 6. Good voices. Well, as you might want to know about Odex dubs, is that the voices are really weird sounding. It's not because they're from another country and just have weird accents. It's because they just can't frickin' act. That's the truth of it. And they kind of use the same people. Like, I noticed that the voice of Yugi, who also voices like several other characters as well, is voiced by some guy named Chuck Powers, and when I first read that, I thought, hey, that name sounds kind of familiar, so I looked it up, and turns out he's also the dub voice for Luffy in the Odex dub of One Piece. And when I say he's the voice of Luffy, he's also Usopp and several other characters in that one. So essentially, he's quite well used, and by that I mean overused. So the thing is that they don't have very many cast members for this dub, like even less than what 4Kids has. So if you ever think that 4Kids has a limited number of voices available, this dub is just as bad, if not worse, when it comes to that. Now, on the other hand, while the voices are pretty limited and the acting is horrible, and it doesn't get better as it progresses either, I will admit this much. On the plus side, this dub doesn't go overdoing it with the accents, if you know what I mean. No Brooklyn accent if that helps at all, but even so, there is one character who still seems to get an accent no matter which English dub you watch it, and that would be Bakura. Yeah, that's right. In this dub of Yu-Gi-Oh!, Bakura is given a southern accent. Gee, they never give him a break, do they? Oh, and that's not weird enough. Yugi's voice, well, when he's in Yami mode, he sounds almost like a surfer dude. I don't know why, but either way. Oh, and by the way, Bakura and Yami, they're both voiced by that Chuck Powers guy, so yeah, same guy. But anyways, these voices are pretty mediocre, and they can barely act, and essentially, I cannot give this dub credit for having good voices, so in the end, the answer is no. Number 7. Script handled well and free of obnoxious jokes added in, excessively bad translations, and otherwise unwanted rewrites. Alright, so look. This dub, like many other Odex dubs, goes for the most literal translation you could possibly find, to a point where it's almost at fault. Like, just to give you a good idea of what this is like, think about how anime used to be dubbed back in the days of Speed Racer, where the translations were very literal, to a point where you could pretty much take those lines and put them onto a subtitled version, and it would be accurate. Like, that's how literal it is. And it's accurate, but it is still weird. Now, the thing is that, on the one hand, now, as you know, by the way, American dubs have since learned not to do this, and have learned to either try to keep the meaning but changing the wording, or to, in 4Kids' case, changing the dialogue completely, but for the most part, literal word-for-word translations for the entire episode are no longer practiced so much. But either way, the Odex dub does keep all the translations accurate, so it doesn't rewrite stuff, doesn't throw in stupid jokes, and you don't hear anything about having a ghost of a chance, so that is a positive, so I actually do have to give them this one. Yes! Number 8. All episodes dubbed, aired, and released to the public so far. No episodes skipped, merged, or otherwise missing. Now look, they've dubbed all the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series episodes, but thing is that I cannot give them this one because, 1, they skipped Season 0, and 2, if I were to give them the point for it anyways, I would get screamed at for not giving 4Kids the point for it. And plus, that would make me a total hypocrite for giving them credit for something that I took points off on 4Kids for. So, due to the fact that much like 4Kids they didn't include Season 0, can't give them this point. No. Number 9, free of name changes. So here's a weird thing that they do with this dub, and you'll find this common in many of Odex's dubs, is that they mispronounce the names. And But an example would be that the character Moukou, who, as you know, his name wasn't changed in the 4Kids dub. In this dub, they call him Moukou for some reason. I don't know why they mispronounce it that way, but they just do. And here's the weird thing. They actually do use, for the most part, the 4Kids names, so you still get Joey, Taya, Tristan, and the likes. But here's the weird part about it. The names that are changed from the original are mispronounced anyways. Like, for whatever weird reason, they refer to Taya as Tia. I don't know why. I mean, they clearly know about the 4Kids version and they're copying them, but they didn't bother listening to the way they pronounce the names. That's just weird. Either way, much like 4Kids, this dub is not free of name changes, so no. Number 10. Overall, is it watchable? Well, in truth, it really depends on what you're looking for in a dub for Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, if you just want a dub that does all the things that 4Kids did wrong and doing it right, then yeah, you could argue that this is a pretty watchable show, but on the other hand, if you're hoping for a better cast, I'll admit it. Even though I didn't give 4Kids the point for good voices, those cast members are probably much better than this one, so if you really want the ideal dub, or at least the best possible combination, well, first off, aside from the first 9 episodes that 4Kids did make uncut versions of, for the rest of it, I would simply suggest listening to this version, but just pretending that they're voiced by the 4Kids cast members. But, with the same dialogue, though. And, so overall, I'm gonna actually say that it is watchable for keeping the background music, openings, and dialogue and such. So I'm gonna say yes. So overall, the point score is a total of 7 out of 10. Not a great dub, but it's not the worst dub ever, and in the end, I will say that it is an improvement over 4Kids. Not that that says much, but either way, good job, I guess. I mean, 7 out of 10 is kind of a C, but, I mean, like I said, I would recommend this one over the 4Kids dub. But then again, I'd probably recommend just watching the Japanese version with no subtitles over that. So yeah, there you have it for the alternative dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! Just so you know, most of the other dubs that are over there in Singapore, like Digimon and the short-lasting One Piece dub, and other ones, most of them would probably get around the same score. Maybe getting the point for keeping the names, but overall they'd all be around that level. Not quite great, but not horrible. So there you have it.